That night, I took my wife to a party, the kind filled with laughter, music, and the easy energy that makes people lose track of time. She looked incredible, the way she always did when she wanted attention to linger. As we stepped inside, I thought it would be just another evening. Friends, drinks, small talk drifting through the air like smoke. I wore a calm smile, one that at every flicker of doubt or unease I had buried deep down. As the night moved on, I watched her laugh at jokes I hadn't told, lean closer to men I didn't recognize, and whisper in a tone that sent a quiet chill crawling up my spine. At first, I brushed it off, just playful energy, I told myself. Nothing more than party chatter. But then came a moment I can't forget. She vanished. 1 second she was beside me, and the next, lost in the crowd. I followed her trail, my heart steady, refusing to let panic take hold. And there she was, tucked in a corner, deep in conversation with a man whose presence seemed to draw her completely out of my world. The truth didn't hit loud. It came softly, like a cold draft slipping under a door. That night, I realized she wasn't coming back. Not to me, not to our marriage, not to the life we'd built together. Still, I didn't shout. I didn't plead. I didn't storm through the room. I just stood there, letting the moment settle around me, clarity washing over as anger gave way to control. She left with him, and I knew then, the real revenge wouldn't come from rage or words. It would come from what I chose to do next. The drive home was silent. Not a word passed between us, and I welcomed that silence. There was no need for questions or explanations. Her choices had already spoken louder than any defense she could give. I thought about every night I had trusted her, every small gesture that once built a life, and how easily it all evaporated with one decision. Losing control would have been easy, but I didn't. I'd learned long ago that strength comes from restraint. By the time we reached home, the shock had faded into something sharper, clearer. I took off my coat, hung it neatly, and sat for a while in the living room, letting the stillness surround me. Every laugh I hadn't shared, every word she hadn't said, every quiet absence, it all became part of the story I was silently rewriting for myself. Then came my decision. I wouldn't chase her. I wouldn't beg. I wouldn't plead. I'd let the consequences of her choices unfold exactly as they should. The next morning, I woke early, brewed my coffee, and went through my plans of the week. I filled my day with purpose, my meetings, my goals, my focus, leaving no space for her chaos to interrupt what I had built. When she returned hours later, her eyes searched for anger, guilt, or heartbreak, but all she found was calm. She expected fire, confrontation, maybe even tears. Instead, she got nothing, and that silence hit harder than any argument ever could. That's when I understood revenge wasn't about striking back. It was about proving that her choices no longer had the power to touch me. Days passed. She tried soft explanations, half-hearted apologies, little attempts to bridge what she'd broken. But I met every word with the same unshaken calm. I didn't need to justify my peace. It spoke for itself. I focus on me, my work, my routines, my friendships, all the things I once neglected trying to hold on to her fleeting attention. A week later, I heard she'd been seen with him again, laughing, glowing, pretending nothing had happened. And I smiled. Not out of bitterness, but understanding, because I finally saw it clearly. Real revenge isn't confrontation. It's living fully while they realize they've lost someone who will never beg to be kept. Every quiet victory, every small success was louder than any accusation could be. By the end of the month, the lesson was complete. She had moved on, but I had already reclaimed the ground she abandoned. My peace remained unshaken. My dignity stood firm. And my life stayed steady. Her betrayal hadn't broken me. It revealed me. It showed me what I valued, what I would tolerate, and where I drew the line. Revenge had taken shape not in anger, but in peace, strength, and silence. She walked away, and I rose. And in the end, I realized that night wasn't really about her or him or even our marriage. It was about me. Finally understanding the quiet power that comes from control, from stillness, and from never surrender your life to someone else's chaos.